what have we learned from the James Webb Telescope? That went up in 2021, right? Around that
Yeah.
time.
It was launched in Christmas Day 2021, and it's been in orbit, revealing the universe in wavelengths that the human eye can't see, called infrared radiation. And that's slightly longer. It's the type of radiation that causes a sensation of heat. So you can go outside on a sunny day. Here it's finally sunny. And you can put your hand up and you can keep your eyes closed like this, and you can move your hand around. You can locate the sun, right? You can imagine your hands are acting like crude eyes, but only because they're sensitive. The molecules rub together and they're heated up by the infrared radiation, not the visible radiation. You can actually block out the visible light, and you'll still be able to detect it with your hand using the infrared, transmitting portion of these filters. So when you do that, you're able to detect the sun. So we're actually able to sense it, but not with our eyes. So with the James Webb Space Telescope, it said, well, this whole invisible universe that we can't see, but we can feel in a sense, we can detect more phenomena than we have seen before. And so it's really focused on that. And the types of findings that they're unveiling have to do with everything from the earliest galaxies in the universe. What did they look like? Did they look like our Milky Way? Did they look different? Sort of looking back in evolutionary terms. Astronomy is very hard. Because we can't do an experiment. You can do an experiment in your psychology class. You can put some marshmallows in front of some toddlers and see if they grab them, right? I mean, you've probably done a bunch of, you can threaten to electrocute people, and be jailers, like in the Stanford prison experiment. And I'm sure you're familiar with all these things with your background. And so you can do it. And what are you doing? You're taking one set of subjects, you're subjecting them to some variable, electric shocks, marshmallows, hopefully more marshmallows than electric shocks. Hopefully you're a nice guy. And then you're doing an experiment. What are you doing? You're comparing the ones that you shock or give marshmallows to the ones you didn't give marshmallows to, or the ones you didn't shock. So you have a control. You have a variable and you have a control. With astronomy, we can't do that. I can't go out and say, wonder what happened if I turn the magnetic field of the Earth, up 1,000 times, and then I watch what happens, or the sun's temperature. Can I change the sun's temperature up by 1,000 times and then see what happens to sunspots or solar storms or all sorts of things? Or what if I added 20 times more dark matter in our, so it's obvious we can't do any of those things. So astronomy is not an experimental science. It's a purely observational science. And that's very, very unusual in the annals of all scientific endeavor. So what can we do? Well, there happens to be the good thing that we have access to two really unique tools that no psychologist, biologist, or chemist could have access to. And that's, we have time machines. So telescopes are time machines. They allow you to look back in history and see it as it was then. Unlike, what we do with archaeology, we see, not unlike what we do with so we see a fossil and it kind of has some aspects of what it was like when it was alive. Maybe it was eating something, maybe the dinosaur was pregnant, maybe it was, trapped in this kind of geological formation. So you can kind of understand the environment, but you can't see it as it was, like a television movie of the dinosaur moving around like on Jurassic Park. But with astronomy, we can look back because these things are so far away from us. We see them as they were when they were babies, or alive, if you will, young and alive. And so when you look back, you see galaxies and you can ask, what were their evolutionary paths from that time? And then you look at older and older galaxies, or younger and younger galaxies going forward in time. And then you see what they look like. And you see, are they similar to galaxies today? Are they different? Do they have the same structure, the same number of stars, the same color, temperature of stars? Were they undergoing fusion at the same rate? Was there as much dark matter? Was the dark energy affecting it? All these things blend together. And that's what the Webb can do uniquely so, such a wonderful job of. It can also do stuff much closer to us in our own in our own solar system. It's looked at Jupiter. It's looked at this asteroid. I don't know if you heard about this, but there was an asteroid spotted. I write about this on my newsletter. It's briankeating.com. You can find it there. And there's an asteroid, not unlike this one. So I give these away. My bokeh's too luxurious, so it's blending it out. But if you're watching, I'm holding up a chunk of an asteroid. So this is a chunk, not the asteroid that could come and destroy Earth, but it's still an asteroid fragment nonetheless, called a meteorite. So it fell in Argentina in 1604 or something like that. I wasn't there, but we dated it, and I give them away on my website, briankeating.com, so you can subscribe for that. And I write about what are the implications of this psychologically, on knowing that we might have a 1%, 2%. This week it got as high as 3%. chance of being impacted by a 300-foot wide, bigger than Foxborough Stadium there, where I used to hang out when I was at Brown University. So yeah, these objects are just phenomenally interesting. And James Webb was able to reveal that it actually has a lower percent chance. So don't take those Jello shots that people are talking about or whatever. Keep living your life. It's probably not going to hit, but it's good to think about those things existentially, philosophically, and psychologically, because it makes you appreciate what we have even more, and being alive and the present moment, what we call memento mori, is a very important concept in humanity, and we shouldn't lose sight of that, literally or figuratively. So Webb is able to do things as far back as the beginning of the earliest galaxies, not quite the Big Bang, but closer to it than ever before, and as close as an asteroid in our own solar system. So it's just an incredible instrument. And one of the most interesting aspects of it that I've had it on my podcast, some of the most brilliant and popularizers of science, David Kipping recently, Adam Frank, is to look for extraterrestrial life on other planets and the formation of so-called exosolar planets that could harbor extraterrestrial intelligence. And we can talk more about that. But James Webb has been able to spot the possible habitable worlds that these things could live on, if they exist. Now, there's no evidence for them. We don't have belief in things in science, as I told you earlier. So right now we have to say there's no evidence, there's no belief warranted, but nevertheless, it's one of the most exciting discoveries, if true, that could ever be made.